Hey horror fans, welcome back to Room 237, coming at you with another Italian film. I said I was done, but I got a couple more. And this is a pretty notorious one. Big video nasty, big classic Italian cannibal film. You're probably wondering how I haven't done it yet. But that is 1980s, or Joe D'Amato's 1980 film, Anthropophagus. Pretty notorious. And the thing about this, I've heard a lot about this movie, and I think it was till just recently it was very easy to find. And like on the Video Nasties documentary I have, this popped up a lot, so I'm thinking, oh, this must be like Cannibal Holocaust, like very big. A lot of people talk about how disturbing, and I mean, even all the reviews on the back, like Spaghetti Nightmares, an icon of cinema gore. HorrorNews.net, creepy, gory, and brutal. Chris Alexander of Shock Till You Drop. Joe D'Amato's sickening classic, his queasiest, slimiest, and ultimately scariest film. I've heard all that, and I've also heard from several reviews on here, like Rambo Rat for Life, OCP Communications, and other people I talked to personally on here, that it's really only known for like two scenes. There's like two short graphic scenes, and the rest is pretty fucking boring. But I just got done watching it, and I gotta say, yeah, 90-minute movie. The first half is boring as fuck. I was actually drifting in and out of falling asleep. But the second half, or at least the third act, is actually alright. I could say I liked it. Yeah, it is a bummer that there's only a couple gore scenes in it. But in all, I actually liked it. So, of course, what Anthropophagus means is, I believe it's Latin. Could be wrong on that, but it pretty much stands for people eater. Like, that's what it literally translates to. And it's about this guy who's an anthropophagus. And yeah, he's kind of, I don't know how we can see that. He's kind of fucked up looking. Kind of looks like a demented Geico caveman or something. The movie opens up with these two German tourists going to this island. They're on the beach. She goes swimming. She gets pulled under, and we see a bunch of red. And then the boyfriend has headphones, but he gets a cleaver to the head. And it's kind of weird because when we see that scene, the blood already looks dried to its skin. So I was like, oh, okay, the effects aren't going to be that great. Which they're not, up until the ending. It's also funny, they pretty much put artwork of essentially the final scene on here. It mixes a few things, like, ocean and eating his own intestines. So then basically it's just this a group of friends. They're going out to this island where, the German tourists were. It's a big tourist island. I think one of the girls is from there, or her family's from there. They get there and everybody's gone. It's like a ghost town. One of the girls is very much into like tarot cards, so she gets all these like you're all doomed kind of readings. And right off the bat, a couple of them were kind of picked off. Like one of the women is pregnant, so one guy, she has her feet in a bucket of water. So he puts the bucket overboard to get fresh, cool water. He gets pulled in. The pregnant woman gets taken. We see her getting dragged away. And then the boat pretty much gets left adrift, so the others are stuck on this island. And it's just really slow. It's them walking around this island. We see one blonde woman in a black dress a couple times. We get some drama amongst the friends, which isn't that interesting at all. But then finally, about somewhere around the a 50-minute mark, we finally see the Anthropophagus. And I'll say it is kind of a well done scene, because it's in a dark room. He's in a corner. There's lightning, and he has does this weird thing with his eyes. The music is actually well done. The music is done by Marcello Giambini. Probably pronouncing that wrong. It's like a mix of, regular Italian horror music, not like what you hear like a Fulci or Argento film, mixed with like church choir, or church organ, rather, not church choir, church organ music. And I actually really liked that. I thought that worked well. Oh, also, they find this one girl. She's in, like, this thing of water and all bloody. She has, like, a knife, and she's blind, so she's just hacking away at them. And they're like, hold on. They calm her down, and I guess the girl that's from the island knows her family. And she gives pretty cryptic description about, like, he's here, he's a monster, whatever. She's blind. And so then that happens first. Then we see the Anthropophagus. And he bites the throat out of this one guy. And the acting is pretty horrible in this. I will say that. The acting and the English dubbing is pretty shitty. Like, I mean, nobody really seems fazed by anything in this movie. Like, the next day... Well, actually, the guy that gets his throat bitten out, he has a crush on this one girl. But this other girl is, like, in love with him. So he, like, kisses the girl he likes, while the one that likes him walks in. She gets all pissed. The other girl tries to chase after her to explain things. And that girl, like, locks her in this gated, creepy area. Then, like, the next day, they're all back together, and they're fine. Well, actually, no. The one that locked her in there runs off. So the rest are all walking together the next day, and they come across this mansion, which is where the woman in black is from. That's her family's house. So they go in, and the tarot card girl is saying how this is the home of Klaus something. Him, his wife and kid died in a shipwreck some time ago. And now, so this one woman is there. She hangs herself. Which, when she hangs herself, it's kind of... I mean, it's a cool shot. Because she ties the rope around, like, a railing of the upstairs. And the camera's like this, so you see her do, like, this Clockwork Orange kind of jump. But then it's like a Suspiria kind of effect. But it's like, you can tell she's standing on something and, like, leaning forward. And, like, blood comes out of her mouth. Not a very good effect. And everyone's just kind of standing there like, ah. And this one guy who has no emotion throughout the whole film, he's just like, cut her down quick. Like, terrible acting, terrible dubbing. So then they find this burnt journal, which says, she's the sister of this Klaus guy. And she sees a family photo of a guy, his wife, and his kid. And you can tell it's this guy when he's normal looking. Because I don't know if you can tell, but he's got, like, sun damage and all scabby and deformed. Kind of looks like the giant from Humongous, to be honest. So then, you know, some things happen, and essentially, you know, they find out that she knows the monster. She's sealed off. You know, pretty much that the killer is Klaus. He survived the shipwreck. She sealed off his bedroom, even though all his victims are in there. Or there's a bunch of victims in there. He ate all the townspeople, basically. So then 2 other guys, they see their boat is kind of drifting back, so they go out to get it. They leave the 2 women and the blind girl behind. And one guy, they decide to split up. One guy goes into this church, which looks like a cave, with like a bunch of like holes cut out for all these bodies. And whenever there's a dead body, the effects look terrible. I mean, a couple of them sort of look like children shouldn't play with dead things kind of quality. Other ones just look like brown paper mache. Which, in fact, that reminds me. The guy that gets pulled overboard when he's filling the bucket, when the pregnant woman pulls the bucket up, his head is in it, and a terrible effect. Like, very, very shitty effects. So the guy finds that the pregnant woman's been in this place the whole time. It's actually his wife. So that's when Klaus, the Anthropophagus, comes back. He has a flashback to when he's on the raft with his wife and kid who died. They're all messed up looking. He tries to convince his wife that they have to eat him. She's like, no, and he accidentally stabs her. And he screams, and it's implied that he ate them and then was driven insane. And when he came back to the island, he just ate everyone. Killed and ate everyone. So he stabs the one guy. He kind of lives. Then he goes over to the pregnant woman. And this is one of the scenes that everyone knows. He strangles her. You kind of see him reach up her dress. And he pulls out a baby. What barely looks like a baby. And takes a bite out of it. While the husband is stabbed and weak and watching. I mean, cool church organ music. I mean, from then on, it's pretty much just like a Halloween type chase because he doesn't run. You know, one girl gets her throat slit because the one that finds the diary finds where his room was sealed off with all his victims. So somehow we go from this cave church to the bedroom, and this one of the other girls gets her throat slit. So it's this other girl and the blind girl, and I mean, I thought it was done in kind of a creepy way. I mean, the music helped, and it just leads to, which the blind girl is a pretty bad actress too, which kind of funny. She looks like Rooney Mara from the Elm Street remake and the girl with the dragon tattoo. She acts about as much as she does. She's just stone-faced the whole time. In fact, when the Anthropophagus, Klaus, like reaches through the roof because they're in the attic to grab her, she just, it's like, you're blind, not catatonic. Plus, when they're up in the attic, they didn't pull the ladder up. It's just a regular ladder. And it all just leads to the final scene, which is, you know, the guy who's just like, cut her down. No, the stone-faced guy. Just as he's about to kill the last girl standing, he comes in with a pickaxe and stabs him in the stomach. And that's when he pulls out his own intestines and eats them. Yeah, they put the last scene on there. I mean, I'll say the intestines look great. It's a scene that lasts maybe 5 to 10 seconds. I mean, it's literally as long as, I mean, it's a few seconds of him pulling out his intestines, but then it's just like, it's about that long. And then that's the end of the movie. So yeah, like the last half hour or so is kind of worth it, but the first hour is pretty hard to get through. Pretty boring and just nothing you give a shit about. But I'll say I liked the last half hour. I'd say it was worth it. I wish the two notorious gore scenes, eating the baby and eating his own intestines, were longer. The actual effects when you actually see him kill somebody, they're not the best. I mean, the blood looks alright, but like the latex doesn't look that great. And honestly, I thought the music really helped. I really like the shot of when they're just walking up the steps and sort of this awkward camera angle of him walking up all these steps slowly with, that church organ music with like the Italian bass beat behind it. And the only reason why this was a video, I mean, watching it now, you're like, this was a video nasty. I mean, by and large, Friday the 13th is much gorier. And it came out the same year, but it's because this was, this has always been more or less the poster. Some of them have had like this on the VHS cover. Other titles is like Grim Reaper and Anthropophagus Beast. And it's like, it was pretty well known that there's a scene where a guy eats his own intestines. And even though during the Video Nasty investigation, lots of people didn't even watch the movies, they just looked at the cover art and was like, that's fucked up. And surprisingly, this did very well with critics. Like, critics actually gave it better reviews than what you would expect. But, yeah. The last half hour was better than I thought it was going to be. I thought this was going to be like Snuff. That piece of shit Snuff that I reviewed. Where it's literally boring horse shit up until like the last 15 seconds. Based on some of the reviews, like more modern reviews I've seen of it, that's what I thought it was going to be, and disappointing. But I thought it had enough elements of everything else. Music. I'll even dare say atmosphere. Yeah, it wasn't as gory as I thought. Just the baby scene in the intestines is really all it had. I mean, you had like 3 scenes like that where you actually see him kill somebody with blood. But yeah, the first hour is a chore to sit through. But I thought the last half hour was pretty good. I thought it was worth it. I can say that I like this movie. Can I recommend it? You really have to be into either Italian horror films, or exploitation to really appreciate it. I don't think your general horror audience would like it that much, especially because of the first hour. But me personally, I actually liked Anthropophagus. It's a movie I've wanted to see for a while, and I finally got to. So from Room 237, thank you for watching.